Alrighty, folks, we are officially entering Thursday of game week. Yes, Michigan football is back, and they're taking on the New Mexico Lobos, Mountain West Conference team, new head coach, third head coach in 3 years. Bronco Mendenhall just took the job at Utah State. So they got some replacing to do, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my rundown on New Mexico. What new players do they have? What about their coaches? All the questions you may have. I'm going to try to answer that right here, right now. Okay, so starting with the head coach, Jason Eck, first year as a head coach. He will be replacing Bronco Mendenhall. He spent the last 3 years at Idaho. In Idaho, he went 26-13. Last year, had a pretty impressive season given what occurred on the Idaho team. They lost 80% of their production going into the 2024 season, and also had to rotate 3 quarterbacks. So Jason Eck finds ways to win. That's what I see. He's accompanied by his offensive coordinator, Luke Schlesner. First year for the Lobos as the OC. He spent the last 3 seasons at Idaho. He does have some good chemistry and some good repertoire with Jack Lane, their quarterback. We'll get to him in a minute. In 2024, Idaho offense ranked 19th in FCS passing efficiency. They had 3 running backs eclipse 500 yards. Their pass offense ranked 5th in the Big Sky, which averaged about 225 yards per game. They were first in pass yards per completion at 14 and a half. And they're really a ball control offense. They want to spread you out, try to run in between the tackles, multiplicity of diversity in the run game, if you will. Pass games very similar as well. Drop back, play action, screen, RPO. They have it. They'll run it. And they want to just try to wear down opponents, eat that clock. And then when you look at the defensive coordinator, Spence Nowinski, he comes over from Memphis. He's been a defensive coordinator at the Division I level since 2009. He knows what he's doing. He's been here for a while. He's coached at some pretty high levels. He had that Memphis defense rolling, man. They were 11-2 last year. Their rush defense improved from 79th to 18th. And their total defense went from 95 overall to 52nd. So my thoughts, kind of impressive on how New Mexico was able to pluck Spence Nowinski. He had a great year at Memphis. They ran a 3.35 at Memphis. He's gone on record saying that New Mexico is going to be running a 4.25 now. I think that's personnel. I think they feel a little bit better. They don't necessarily have the 3 big bodies to go ahead and stick on that D line in a 3.35. So I think there's transition to a 4.25 with trying to implement some speed on the D line, and we'll get into that here in a second. So quarterback for the New Mexico Lobos, Jack Lane. He transfers over from Idaho, where he spent the last few seasons there. He is a high IQ guy from what everyone's saying. In 2024, he went 64% on passes, 1,477 yards, and 14 touchdowns. And that was only in 6 games. He got hurt. I think he broke his collarbone, needed surgery after Oregon week 1. And then in the spring, this past offseason, he did a little something to his elbow, a little UCL, if you will. So keep in mind that, the wear and tear throughout the game to see if he's able to go. But he's their guy. He won the job in camp. He comes over from Idaho. He spent the past 4 years with Luke Schlesner, their offensive coordinator. So he's got chemistry, knows how to run the offense. 8 starts in 3 years, 15 games played in total. So he knows what he's doing. He can manage the offense, get the guys lined up. Durability is a question for me on his end. And when you look at, and I also forgot to mention, they lost 3 very important players on offense. Devin Dampier, who went to Utah. All 3 of these guys went to Utah. Naquari Rogers, running back, and Ryan Davis, receiver. All 3 were really their offense last year. All 3 are now Utah Utes. So what did they bring in? They brought in 24 total portal additions, really coming from all over the place. A lot of people that follow and cover New Mexico are saying that this is an FCS all-star team. May not be what you want to hear if you're a New Mexico fan, but you got some guys that can play. Starting with Scott Trey Humphrey, running back. He comes over from Montana State. He's going to be their lead rusher. running back one, if you will. But they feel really good about the running back spot. They feel like they have 4 guys per their running back coach that could go start anywhere at the P4 level. And that's led by Scott Trey Humphrey, the Montana State transfer, 1,300 yards last season, 16 touchdowns. He'll be a 1-2 punch combo with Damon Blankston, number 8. Weber State transfer, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns last year. A little bit of a thunder lightning kind of combination, if you will, on those two. They feel really good about all 4, but these 2 are gonna be the dual-headed horse, if you will. They say Damon Blankston, number 8, has some of the best bursts in the room. That lightning effect, if you will. The other 2 backs to round it out are Deshaun Buchanan, number 8. Sorry, that might have some numbers mixed up there, but name's right. Deshaun Buchanan, he comes over from Idaho with Jason Eck and offensive coordinator Luke Schlesinger. Led the Vandals in rushing last year with 567 yards, so worth noting. Third back on the chart has chemistry, has knows the offense, was their leading rusher last year. So, I mean, they're feeling good about these guys. And the 4th running back, Sam Houston State transfer, Conference USA Freshman of the Year, DJ McKinney. Feel really good about those guys. They're saying that all 4 of those guys could touch the field. And we'll get in here to receivers next, but receivers position is their biggest question mark offensively. Wouldn't be surprised if they roll out 20 personnel, 21 personnel, and they live with 2 running backs on the field, just trying to get their best athletes, most healthy players on the field, if you will. Going at receiver, Keegan Johnson, coming over from Kansas State, the transfer, recorded 29 receptions and 350 yards last year, 1 touchdown. He is penciled in to be receiver 1. But the thing with Keegan and also Isaiah Blair and who's the other lucky candidate? Let me check my depth chart here. So we have Isaiah Blair, Keegan Johnson, and Kadar Diop, Kader Diop. Sorry for messing that up. Those 3 guys are their 3 receivers, but they've all been injured. They really haven't been able to go during camp. I think Keegan Johnson's nursing a hamstring. Not sure about Isaiah Blair or Kader Diop. But those 3 guys have been questionable, which has led to some question marks as far as what the outlook of the pass game for New Mexico is going to look like. But in that, someone's got to shine, right? So number 0, Zail Smith, freshman receiver, has earned a starting spot. Keep an eye out for him. Their go-to guy is going to be Keegan, though. If he's healthy and good to go, look out for number 6, Keegan Johnson. At tight end, they're going to be living in 11 and 12 personnel, a little bit of very minuscule of 10. They're going to live in 11 and 12. So you'll see Dorian Thomas, number 7, Arizona transfer at tight end. The word is he's had the best camp for them in that tight end room. And then you go to the offensive line. Offensive line's lost 4 out of the 5 key starters. First team all-conference left guard does return Richard Pierce, team captain in 24, team captain now. And there's some question marks on that O-line. They feel like they have 4 out of the 5 spots filled, with the right tackle spot possibly being a rotational type of plug and play type deal there. When you look at defensive line, they got 2 guys returning they feel really good about, in Gabe Lopez and Okiki Olorunfunmi. And again, I'm not I don't pronounce words very well, especially if I don't say them often. So sorry, Okiki. Those 2 guys were their defensive ends last year. They now have been moved into the inside. They're going to be interior pieces to where they want a little bit. They're gonna lack in size, but where they lack in size, they feel like they make up for in speed. And they feel good about that because they're getting Keyshawn Newby. And Keyshawn Newby comes over from Idaho, defensive end. He's kind of their bell horse, their bell cow on defense, a guy that they really rally behind. 10.5 sacks last year, 14.5 tackles. He's a guy to look out for on that D line at defensive end. He plays that what they call the jack boundary defensive end. So he'll be into the boundary. Number 1, Keyshawn Newby, James, I believe is his full name. They feel really good about him. When you look at the linebacker room, kind of like the running back room, they feel very, very good about their linebackers. They feel as if their linebackers and running backs are going to be kind of the leaders of the clubhouse, if you will. And they got about 5 guys that they feel like they could rotate, plug and chug. And it'll be interesting because they're a based 4-2-5. So only two guys are most likely going to see the field. If they go base, 4-3, then you can get a Sam backer up in there. Coach Spence Nowinski was a traditional 3-3-5 guy last year at Memphis, but I think due to personnel, mainly on the D line, he's sticking with the 4-2-5. He had some linebackers at Memphis that could chase that ball down, if you will. So here, I think they're going to just stick with the 4-2-5. We'll see if they sprinkle in the 3-3-5, try to get another backer on the field. Maybe try to rush the passer from different angles, add some different blitzes in there. I know that's a little bit easier out of that 3-3-5 as a defensive coordinator. So Jason Eck, number 6, coach's son, he's going to be leading at middle linebacker. Idaho transfer, expected to start at middle linebacker, 134 tackles at Idaho. Number 20, Kwan McCray, is expected to start at the will linebacker. He comes over from Jacksonville State. 66 tackles last year. Then the last 3 guys, Mercury Swaim, number 16, number 22, Dimitri Johnson, and number 33, Randolph Kapai. Look out for those guys. Lastly, defensive backs. Cornerback number 2, Abraham Williams, is their best cornerback per coaches, per outlet news stuff coming out here recently during camp. He comes over from Idaho as well. So he's going to be kind of their guy. He is also worth mentioning, preseason All-Mountain West returner. He has 5 returning touchdowns in the last 3 seasons, so keep an eye out for him. He'll be returning kicks. And to round out their corners, John Johnson, number 12, expect to see him from Montana State. Number 4, Jaden Sheridan, comes over from Utah Tech, and along with Frankie Edwards from Webster State. In the back end, at the safety spot, they're getting Austin Brawley, number 21. He comes over. He's going to be playing the field safety. He's from Ohio. And actually a little bit of chemistry there. Kind of like Jack Lane, quarterback, has been with Luke Schlesinger, Jason Eck for those 3-4 years. Austin Brawley has played for Spence Nowinski at Ohio when Spence Nowinski was the defensive coordinator over there. So chemistry in the back end. Could Austin Brawley kind of be that quarterback of the defense? Probably a good chance with just his experience and having known the defense. Tavion Combs is expected to fill that other safety spot, that boundary safety spot. A little bit of question mark on him as well. Got injured in 23, missed all of 24 essentially with recovering from that injury. So this is his first start in 2 years at that position. So yeah, that's basically the rundown on the players. And as far as what they do scheme wise, there are multiple run games. They have a multiplicity of things in the run game: outside zone, inside zone, man scheme runs, which your dive, your toss, your sweeps. You got power, counter, your gap schemes. They ran a really good pull, a power lead where they insert the tight end versus Oregon last year, game 1, and they found some good success on that. A couple explosive runs. Look out for that. They want to live in that gap scheme world, but they can do other things. Play action shows up, about 25-30% of the time, along with drop back a little bit more than that. You'll see some RPOs in there as well. They want to try to get people in conflict, whether that's the nickel Sam in that alley or it's a defensive end on a true read option. They're going to formation into boundary a little bit. Formation into boundary means that they're going to line the strength into the boundary, meaning that they're going to try to test and see what Michigan does. Does Michigan adjust and travel the nickel? Meaning that does this nickel travel to the passing strength in the boundary? And that tells a lot, gives you a lot to do both defensively and offensively. Offensively, if he does travel, you may have better numbers back to the field where all that green grass is at. You load all the defensive guys into the boundary, get them pinned there, you work to the field. If he doesn't travel, he stays to the field, you probably have numbers to the boundary now. So that's how that game works. Formationally, they're going to be a 3-by-1 and 2-by-2 team. They don't run a lot of 2 running back sets, but I'd expect them to maybe change that just due to the fact that they do have a very, very strong running back room. Receiver room is a little light in the britches as far as health. So look for maybe a running back playing some slot or getting some 20 personnel to the point where, we got 2 receivers, two running backs in the backfield, or 1 guy lined up out of the backfield, no tight ends. So they could do a number of things. One thing that's for sure is every other play, there's going to be a motion. They motion or shift 49% of the time. Why you do that? Indicators, right? Quarterback can see is a guy running with the motion. If so, man coverage. If no one runs, they shift. Then they'll just they'll enter the zone coverage. So they're going to get indicators, but also they do motions and whatnot to give tight ends, receivers a little bit of advantage, a little bit of a running start, whether it's to block or to get into a route. They're about a 50% pass, 49% run. And they live 61% of the time in 11 personnel, which is one tight end, three receivers, one running back. 12 personnel is their second highest package, two tight ends, two receivers, one running back. And like I said, they're about a 50% pass, 49% run. And you never know with a lopsided game like this where Michigan's a 34-point favorite. But in this situation, I'd expect the run to be on the higher side in the first half. They're a ball control offense. They want to try to establish the run, control the line of scrimmage. And as Michigan slowly starts to gain a lead, I think we'll see that passing go up. And then the closer we get to the end of the game, it's obviously going to go down if Michigan is up by, what they should be. Moving on to defense. Last note, they're a shotgun team 68% of the time, 28 other percent. They're going to be in pistol. They're not an under center team. They're going to be in shotgun or pistol all day, every day. Moving on to defense. What does Spence Nowinski do? Defensively, he's multiple, man. He wants to disguise the coverage, rotate late, try to make it confusing for the quarterback, receivers to figure out, is it post high safety, single high, is the middle of the field open? So he runs a little bit of everything. Cover zero does show up. What does that mean? That means Bryce Underwood and company are going to have packages, based on which part of the field that cover zero shows up, right? If it shows up at the 50-yard line, then Bryce needs to understand, hey, all right, I could be getting some zero here. If I get that look, what are my answers, right? And during the week, they'll have 4 or 5 plays that they can check into. One guy can shift to make it a new formation, and we can get some man beaters going for that cover zero look. Cover 1 shows up, cover 2 shows up. Cover 3 is their main baby. That's what they're gonna major in, is cover 3, post high safety. They're gonna try to rotate late. It's gonna start like this. It's gonna look like cover 2, right? 2 high safeties, and at the snap, it's gonna look like that, right? Post high safety, other safeties either in the weak or the strong hook, doing what he does. Cover 4 is then their second highest. Quarters is quarters, man. Good run defense, eyes in the backfield. Safeties are reading the tight end down. Reacting to run. Cover 6 does show up. Cover 6 and cover 2 is more so a condensed adjustment. When you see Michigan condense and run tight splits, that's a check that most defenses do, but you see it with Spence Nowinski. So that's the combo coverage of cover 6, which is cover 4, and cover 2 to a side, and then you get your straight traditional cover 2. They're a nickel team, like we know, 4-2-5 about 93% of the time. And they like to blitz, man. They blitz about 30% of the time, and they stunt about 38% of the time. So they're going to be trying to make things difficult, trying to get guys in different places to mess up the assignment for that O-line and running back and quarterback. Blitzing shows up more so on passes about 34% of the time versus run blitzes about 19% of the time. Pressures. They're going to live with a 5-man pressure. That's where they live about 43% of the time. So 5 guys coming, that's their pressure. That's their pressure package. 23% of the time, you'll see 6-man. And then, a 7-man pressure, very rarely 4%. And where are those blitzes coming from? Inside the box. About 27% of the time, it's going to be either a safety coming in from inside the box, inside a linebacker, or a linebacker shooting inside in between the tackles. You're going to get slot blitzes about 9% of the time. Which is that nickel defender, that safety, creep down off the edge, and yeah. So that's the breakdown, man. I went pretty long, 20-minute video. I just wanted to touch on New Mexico, give you guys a little insight on what they do. A lot of moving pieces: new head coach, new OC, new DC, and a lot of new players. This is the day and age we live in, right? You have a coach leave a school. Bronco Mendenhall goes to Utah State. They lose a good amount of players. And they have to hit the portal. Jason Eck comes from FCS at Idaho, so he brings a bunch of FCS guys. Could this be a Kirk Cignetti of the Mountain West, where he brings in his guys? I don't know, but I expect Michigan to get up and maintain a lead. But here's everything you need to know about New Mexico.